South Carolina, the national champions. Just a couple of years ago, Iowa and Megan Gustafson, another double-double for her. And on the other side, Mississippi State and Oregon will play for a spot in the Final Four tomorrow. And we welcome you back to Greensboro. Pam Ward along with Carolyn Peck won a national championship with Purdue. Allison Williams joins us shortly. And for Baylor, this is a team that's lost only one time all year. The best big duo in the country in Kalani Brown and Lauren Cox.
They do damage in the paint. They average almost 45 points in the paint. When they played South Carolina the first time, they had 52 paint points. And why is it so easy for these two? Because they have strength, they have power. Double team, triple team hasn't been able to slow these two down. They find each other very well. They complement each other well. And Lauren Cox, she can put the ball on the floor and attack her opponents. So when you've got 6'7" and 6'4" coming at you, that's a handful.
So Baylor averaging over 46 paint points per game in the first two rounds, almost 100 points per game as a team in the first two rounds. Allison Williams, what do you have on South Carolina?
Well, I actually got a little bit more on those Baylor bigs, Cam. Carolyn just showed us how dangerous they are, but how about the guards? It's actually been them that's leading the team in scoring. You look at Juicy Landrum averaging 17 points a game in the tournament. She can combine with Chloe Jackson in the last game for 38. But even that, Kim Mulkey says, is a testament to the bigs. She said the guards are able to cut and shoot and are always ready because they know Cox and Brown will find them. She said it's that ability to kick it out and to pass is just another reason why they are so dangerous.
And we are underway. Lauren Cox gets it back to her backcourt. Now Danye Kalani able to knock it away as right away Baylor was trying to go to the well. And Kalani Brown. Take a look at our Capital One starting lineups. Juicy Landrum and Chloe Jackson doing most of the damage, as Allison told you, in the backcourt during the postseason. And South Carolina, they just want to run the floor. Taya Cooper with the miss. They're looking for layups and threes, and they talked about letting it fly on offense. This is a team that lost to Baylor by 25 in the regular season in Columbia. Dee Richards hits the offensive glass and gets the putback. In that game, South Carolina not yet fully healthy, with Asia Wilson leaving. It really changed the dynamic of this team, and Dawn Staley had to try a lot of different lineup combinations, particularly with all of the injuries. Ty Harris missed wide left. Landrum too far from Lauren Cox, who's frustrated with herself. Cox actually is a really good passer, 11th in the league in assists this year. 6 straight times Dawn Staley has taken her team to the Sweet 16 2 years ago. They won it all.
And this is not what South Carolina wants to do, is to try to execute against the sides in the half court. They want it to be up-tempo, but you got to take care of the ball.
Kim Mulkey earlier this week was named the WBCA National Coach of the Year for the second time in her brilliant career. And it's been 11 straight Sweet 16s, but they have not been back to the Final Four since their last national championship, and that was 7 long years ago.
Well, I say babies are good luck. Kim didn't have a baby, but her daughter, Mackenzie, had Cannon. And Cannon could be lucky for the Baylor Bears this season.
I never heard that babies were lucky. Just expensive and make you sleep deprived. There's Mackenzie Fuller now, played on the championship team, talking to Satia Messer, who is one of the really good assistants in college women's basketball. And yet little Cannon came around last fall, and it softened Kim up a little bit. The players might not quite agree with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, said the freshmen may have experienced it.
Chloe Jackson, number 2 guard when she was at LSU, averaged 18 points a game this year, thrust into the point guard role, and has done well. Brown just knocked that stuff away from Alexis Jennings.
It'll be interesting to watch. Danye Kalani has the responsibility of guarding Lauren Cox right here. Look at the size difference.
And the inside points, first for Kalani Brown, averaging 15.5 per game, leading Baylor in scoring, rebounding, field goal percentage. Taya Cooper, they need to hit those outside shots to have a chance this afternoon.
We heard Dawn Staley say yesterday, I want layups and threes, so she wants to push fast and score early.
Cooper tried to save it, and animatedly so, shows her frustration. Michael McConnell, Cameron Inouye, and Benny Luna, our officials this afternoon in Greensboro. Edie Richards inbounds, 21 seconds to shoot for Baylor. Richards with the turnaround, and she does not give them a lot of offense, only about 6 points per game. She's already got 4, but they love her defense.
She's good at the two-point game, and at the post-up, she has almost a foot advantage over Destiny Henderson. Just about every position, Baylor's got the height advantage.
And the foul on the other end. Richards frustrated that she didn't score, but she'll have a chance to go to the free throw line.
Didi is underrated, and we talk so much about, people say, well, she's not going to be a three-point shooter. She has learned when double teams go into the post play, then she makes correct dives, correct reads, and she gets in there and rebounds when shot goes up. But the other thing that I think brings her value to this team is her chemistry. I watched her at practice yesterday, and even when she was out, she was constantly talking to everybody on the floor, complimented people that don't even get to play that were making plays in practice.
Yeah, she was very chatty. Only a 52% free throw shooter, but she knocked them both down, and she's already hit her season average at 6 points.
And I think she has the best hair in the Sweet 16.
Does she win your hair bowl?
I love the puffs.
Destiny Henderson's been subbed out for Nellie Perry, number 0 in black, grad student from Clemson. And now Richards ahead of the pack, able to chase it down. Baylor streaking out to a 10-2 lead. Jackson fumbled it a bit. Cox, boy, and that is a huge mismatch. Kleine is listed at 6 feet, Cox at 6'4", and I swear Lauren Cox is at least 6'5". But anyway, that's a tough matchup, no matter how tall Lauren is.
Well, and the width of how Lauren Cox plays when she posts up, as a defender that's smaller, you got to pick one side or the other, front or behind, but once you declare, she dominates.
Now Brown working on Jennings. A little bit too strong, but at 6'7", she's able to just reach up and grab the rebound. Perry chased down the follow. Another whistle, another foul. I think they're going to get Richards, and they do. First one on Didi. Sophomore from Cypress, Texas, on the Big 12 All-Defensive squad this year. And now Taya Cooper heads to the line. 76% on the season. Men's hockey is skating towards the Frozen Four in Buffalo with the triple-header of regional semis and finals later today. Coming up in a couple of hours at 4 Eastern on ESPNU and the ESPN app. NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. 4 o'clock, you get to see the defending champions Bulldogs in Minnesota Duluth skate. Baylor with a 7-point advantage. Brown, and again, if she gets it that deep, you can't stop her, right?
Well, when you're 6'7", and she posts the way she does, you play behind her, she's going to bury you. Play in front of her, she's going to be able to lob over the top. You've got to be really able, you have to defend by committee.
Kiki Herbert Harrigan. She's a player you think has to have a rather large game today, right?
Well, I think she's that post player that can bring and pull the defense away. Make Lauren Cox have to come away from the basket. What will that do? Allow Jennings to go one-on-one or leave driving lanes for guards?
Herbert Harrigan has been very hot in the last few games, averaging over 16 points per game. But that time, she got rejected with authority by Lauren Cox. And the ball goes over to Baylor. And Baylor out of the gates quickly, up by 9. Here's Lauren Cox at work.
Well, Kiki Herbert Harrigan, Cox just creates the space. And it's almost like a perfect volleyball spike. The timing. Ready to swat at the top when the ball gets to its peak.
You're getting all excited now.
I love the blocks. Love it.
Jackson challenges Perry. Lauren Cox last week spiked an inbounds pass into the crowd down in Waco. Herbert Harrigan, a little bit too strong. Rebound Richards, and she's looking to run. Right down, and Herbert Harrigan meets her, and that fires up Kiki with the block. Baylor out to an early 14-5 lead as we take a timeout in Greensboro.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Welcome back. The Baylor Lady Bears, the #1 overall seed. Their only loss, Carolyn, came right before Christmas at Stanford, otherwise perfecto.
Well, the post players for Baylor didn't come out full strength, ready to play. Kalani Brown got into foul trouble. Lauren Cox wasn't ready to play, and Kim Mulkey made a decision to deliver the message, teach it early in the season, and that would pay off down the stretch, and it's done exactly that. Lauren Cox has come out ready to play every game since.
Yeah, they together only played 45 minutes. Cox just 15 minutes in that loss at Stanford. Brown, nice pass to get Richards, who was streaking in. Kim Mulkey was very careful. Said, I don't want to take anything away from Stanford. They played a great game. A lot of talent on Tara Vanderveer's team.
No, Stanford shot lights out against Baylor as well.
But she also got a subpar performance from her post, and they have not lost since. 25 straight games. That is the longest Division I winning streak in women's basketball. Shot clock, single digits. Harris trying to make something happen, but it goes over to Baylor. These two teams played on December 2nd. We already referenced that. The first quarter was all Baylor.
32 points in that first quarter.
They were 32-13 after the first 10 minutes, shot 62% from the floor.
Well, South Carolina started out in the zone and really challenged to see if Baylor's guards could shoot the basketball. Well, they found that out. Yes, they can.
Well, we know Baylor has a size advantage, and we're seeing that translate on the boards where they have a 10-4 rebounding advantage right now. So Dawn Staley during that last timeout reminding her team they have to aggressively rebound. They need their guards involved, especially on the offensive end. They have 0 offensive rebounds so far.
And that's just not going to cut it for them. Kiki Herbert-Harrigan just picked up her first foul. And look at it, it's almost like a rugby scrum as they surround Cox underneath. Brown with the turn, and the officials say Baylor ball. Now Bianca Cuevas-Moore comes in for Carolina in place of Taya Cooper.
And Dawn Staley's just trying to find the combination that can work against Baylor's defense.
That's a foul on Cox. That is the first on Warren. South Carolina just 2 of 9 from the floor so far. Coach Staley trying to figure out a way to pull off what would be a huge upset against Baylor today. Herbert-Harrigan working against Cox. Lost it on the way up, but Ty Harris came up with it. Brissett didn't even get a chance to challenge Brown because Chloe Jackson was all over it. And South Carolina takes a timeout with 2 seconds left on the shot clock.
I don't think that's a timeout that Dawn Staley wanted. It's so early in this first quarter or in the first half. You save that timeout.
Coverage of the Division I Men's Basketball Championship Regional Finals continues today on TBS at 6 Eastern Time. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. A lot of people in this state were unhappy because North Carolina just got thumped last night.
Auburn handled them yesterday. And Duke went to the wire yesterday as well.
2 close wins for Duke, and there's the Carolina Blues still sporting it. We're in Greensboro. We're about 75 miles from Raleigh, which is, of course, close to Chapel Hill. Or maybe not, of course, if you're geographically challenged. That worked. Brissett.
Look, if you call a timeout with 2 seconds left to go, you better finish. You better score and execute out of that timeout.
Cox, who's a terrific passer. Boy, they work well together. Got it into Brown.
And why do they work so well together? They like each other. They look for each other. They have respect for each other's game.
Brown already with 8 points, outscoring South Carolina on her own. Cuevas-Moore. Just a little bit off. Cuevas-Moore did not play at all against Belmont. earlier in this tournament. Cox, money. You know, she doesn't take a lot of threes, but she always seems to make them.
She does at the right time. You know, the discipline of not just settling and wanting to jack up threes because it looks good, but when it's efficient in the right time, she does it.
That was only her 15th three of the season. And this her 35th game. Nice play by Ty Harris to get into the scoring column. Averaging 11.5 points and 5 assists in the first 2 games. South Carolina with wins over Belmont and Florida State to get here. Brown, stuffed by Grisette, and there's a lot of South Carolina fans here, relatively close to Columbia, and they've shown up. They have play in Charlotte, the first 2 rounds because their building was occupied.
Exactly, and they've been well supported since Dawn Staley's gotten to Columbia. That attendance has grown. Hanging banners. There's Juicy.
Juicy Landrum averaging 17 points in the first 2 rounds. That leads her team.
That's one highlight for Andy Landers to be able to talk about. He wanted to cover the Juicy Landrum highlights at halftime.
Her first basket. And her second shot. Already inside a minute and a half to go in the first quarter. Good pass. Herbert Harrigan finding Grisette after drawing the defense. He's got 4 off the bench. Giving him some much needed height, depth. Another 3 from Cox. That one skims off. Boy, Richards is always around the basketball, isn't she?
But for Baylor, having to do a lot of the dribble drive and have the defense rotate over it. Now, the other 4 players that don't have the ball, you've got to be ready to catch because you're not going to score over the height of Baylor. You're going to have to make them rotate and then go to score.
Harris deliberately brings the ball up. Jackson trying to get the steal. 15 seconds to shoot. Jackson's second team all Big 12. First year playing the point in college. After being a 2-guard, at LSU.
And she was the 3rd option to play point.
Yep.
First it was going to be Dee Dee Richards. Then they tried Juicy Landrum and settled. Kim Mulkey settled on Chloe Jackson, said her basketball IQ and how quickly she picked things up.
Herbert Harrigan blocked again by Lauren Cox. South Carolina retains possession. And they needed a point guard because Alexis Morris was dismissed from the team in September. After she had a really good freshman year under Kim Mulkey, who was a terrific, fiery, needless to say, point guard at Louisiana Tech.
It's been a tough offseason for Kim Mulkey. When they went to Italy, she was having problems with her back. Once she came back, she had to have back surgery. And she was in so much pain there. She spent a lot of that trip on medication just trying to soothe herself. Then came back, had surgery. A bright spot was that she became a grandmother, but when the season started, you see her squatting on the sideline. She wasn't allowed to do that. Doctor said, not till I give you the go. It wasn't until December.
Look who's bringing the ball up. Lauren Cox at 6'4", and she was nudged by Grisette, who picked up the foul. It's a 5th team foul, so Baylor's in the bonus. It will send Lauren Cox to the free throw line. 2-time first team all Big 12, and for the 2nd year in a row, the defensive player of the year in the league, and we've seen why, especially the way she can block shots.
Absolutely. The length, timing, and the spacing, she gets away from the offensive person, so she doesn't get that foul, but she connects with the ball at the right time.
1 of 2 from the line. So Carolina can take the last shot of the quarter. Harris with the switch has Cox on her. And Cuevas Moore trying to bounce pass it in. First quarter is in Baylor's favor. They are up 13. We'll hear from Dawn Staley when we come back to Greensboro.
as we get ready to start the second quarter of our second Sweet 16 matchup here in Greensboro with South Carolina head coach Dawn Staley. Coach, I know points in the paint were a big concern coming into this game. Baylor has 14 already. What defensive adjustments need to happen?
Offense. We got to put some points on the scoreboard. I think we got to get into their bodies. I think we're trying to shoot over the top of them, and that's pretty hard. So we got to try to put the ball on the floor, put them back on their heels, and we ourselves got to get some offensive rebounds.
Do you want to push the pace a little bit more?
I would like to push the pace and give up as many threes as possible to offset what they're doing in the paint.
Dawn, thank you.
And so far, South Carolina is 0 for 3 in three-point attempts as they trail in this Sweet 16 matchup. The winner gets Iowa on Monday night. Pam Ward, Carolyn Peck, and Allison Williams joining you from Greensboro. Brown and Richards doing the offensive damage. And Baylor is on pace, Carolyn, for their most point pace of any opponent of the season against South Carolina, which would break Baylor's first game when Baylor had 52 against South Carolina.
They've got to find, South Carolina's got to find a way to try to keep the ball out of the paint. Cal did a nice job when they played in the second round game. The problem was that in forcing Baylor to shoot from the perimeter, they were knocking down shots. But you've got to pick your poison, because you're not going to be able to guard each player one-on-one with Baylor. They will bury you in the paint.
Lonnie Brown sent out Alexis Jennings to the line, where she hit both of her free throws. First points of the game for the redshirt senior, who played her first 2 years at college ball in Kentucky. Cox, all she has to do is lift it up over her head and wait for Richards. She really is an outstanding passer.
Well, Cox is an outstanding passer, and Dee Richards really recognizes where the openings are. When the defense rotates to the ball, she cuts on that baseline to the open area just on the backside of the basket.
Dee Richards has 11 points. She only averages 6, and her career high is only 15, and she's already knocking on the door of that. You see Baylor's offense just absolutely dominating, and those are national rankings.
When you look at sharing the basketball, you look at going to the glass. Because of sharing the basketball, I think that's why the field goal percentage is as high as it is, because nobody's taking bad shots.
Coming into the tournament, 10th in the nation in scoring defense, first in the nation in field goal percentage defense. Opponents shoot only 31% against Kim Mulkey's team, and you're not going to win a lot of games by shooting 31%.
You have the 6'7" reach of Kalani Brown, then you have Lauren Cox blocking shots. Dee Richards has got to be 6'1". She plays like she's 6'2" or 3. So with that size in your front court, it makes it tough.
5 blocks for Baylor, 4 of them by Lauren Cox, all coming in the first quarter. Baylor team averaging 98.5 points per game in the first 2 rounds of this NCAA tournament. Cox again. Brown had to go up and get it, and then Viteria Saxton got the block. 6'1" freshman. Perry, a little bit too strong. Rebound goes to Juicy Landrum.
Well, you can shoot the 3, but you got to have somebody going in for the offensive glass. Great pass by Kalani Brown.
Brown was doubled, and she looked, and Dee Richards again just making a living by streaking under the bucket. Landrum with the assist from Cox. And the Lady Bears are rolling.
This is a team I feel has what it takes to compete for a national championship.
Are the #1 overall seed, a 7-0 run for them now. Cuevas Moore. Saxton had it knocked away by Richards, but it stays with the Gamecocks.
Baylor moving the basketball, a little drop pass from your 6'7" post player, just recognizing where the defense has rotated. Nell Fortner said in the studio, she said, you've got to, when you help the helper, it's that third rotation that did not happen for South Carolina.
Cooper put her shoulder down, and they got her for the charge. That is the second foul on Taya Cooper, the leading scorer for this team at just under 12 points per game. South Carolina shooting just 24% so far. The reverse palindromic score of 31-13.
The reverse what kind of score?
Palindrome. It's the same thing forwards as backwards.
I'm writing that down.
Okay. Hence 31-13. You don't want to be in one of those score situations. Landrum falling down, drew the foul. Tanisha Harris, the junior point guard, committed the foul, and now Juicy Landrum heads to the line.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how long South Carolina waits, how far behind you become before you pull out the full court pressure. You've got to try to challenge turning the ball over in the backcourt, because in the half court, Baylor is just doing whatever they want to do.
And that was one of the concerns of Kim Mulkey, the Baylor head coach, because Chloe Jackson, again, is not a natural point guard, and she said, quote, "We were very terrible at Texas trying to handle the Longhorns' pressure." They ended up winning that game, Baylor did, but still, I mean, why not? This could be your last game of the year if you don't try it, right?
Well, how far down do you want to get when you're down 20? You've got to try to change up something. Maybe create offense, early offense, from forcing some turnovers.
Coach Staley has been going to her bench often. Jackson took it away momentarily from Brown, and then Lauren Cox chucked it 3/4 of the way down the court to Juicy Landrum. Lauren Cox has 5 assists to lead both teams. There's a much-needed bucket by Herbert Harrigan.
So right now, I would challenge Destiny Henderson to really put more pressure on Chloe Chapman. I would even bring Chloe Jackson. I would even bring surprise trapping.
Brown all the way down the left side of the lane, and she was fouled.
Pam, check out this outlet pass. Lauren Jackson, it's not a baseball pass, but a two-hand full court pass. That's upper body strength right now, and recognizing where Juicy Landrum is down the court.
Cox leading the way with 5 assists. Baylor has 12 assists on their 15 baskets. Here's Kalani Brown. 22-point lead for Baylor. Hand check on Urson on the perimeter. Urson, who like Coach Mulkey and Kalani Brown, is from Louisiana.
And when I look at this Baylor team, I try to figure out what is their weakness, what could be their Achilles heel. You know, when watching them play to the eye test, you really don't see anything. If you look at the statistics, it might be free throw shooting. They shoot 69%, but I think they have everything that they need to win a national championship. They play tremendous defense, only allow opponents 41%. They have great team chemistry. Everybody knows their roles. They've got a strong point guard in Chloe Chapman, and you look at how many points per game and can score in a plethora of different ways.
Many plethoras on Carolyn's pecking order and the keys to the championship. That's some good stuff there.
I have my thesaurus sitting right here on the table with me. But they're fast.
And
they're
a point
athletic.
of fact, you don't have a thesaurus.
True.
True.
But
Jackson spins.
Yeah, they've got the total package. The total package.
Again, and you're talking about the free throw shooting, and maybe if you put pressure on Jackson, you might get her to cough up the ball, but we have not seen that.
Well, the other thing that wasn't on my pecking order list is they have depth. They can go to their bench. Should they get into foul trouble, they still have talent to go to.
Saxton, after the nice dish, finishes her first basket. This is Smith, who just checked in. Her turn to get an assist.
You don't get that assist if you don't have a player that has the ability to read the finding openings, and Dee Dee Richards has perfected that.
With that bucket, Richards has tied her career high. She's already got 15 points, and we have over 4 minutes left to go in the half. Herbert Harrigan finishes. Alyssa Smith. Cox cleans it up and puts it right back in. Individually, they would be difficult to deal with, but when you have Cox and Kalani Brown not even on the floor right now.
You have Melissa Smith, who's coming to the ball game.
Just forced that turnover. Smith, part of the #1 recruiting class last year, and then nobody was guarding her. Dawn Staley has got to be livid as she calls a timeout. Baylor is putting a hurting on South Carolina.
The Baylor Bears, they're in control. It looks easy for the #1 Bears as they're rolling on. Will they advance to the Elite Eight? Looks like it. We'll see.
And company, and absolutely it has been a dominating performance by this Baylor Lady Bear team, and they just keep on coming. Juicy Landrum lost it out of bounds, one of the few miscues. And coming up next for the winner of this game, it is the Fightin' Lisa Bluters, the Iowa Hawkeyes, into the Elite Eight for the first time since 1993, led by Megan Gustafson, who had yet another double-double this afternoon in their win over NC State.
And she has an opportunity to reach 1,000 points this season in the game on Monday.
It will be here in Greensboro at 7 Eastern time, and right now, looks like it's going to be Baylor. Megan Gustafson with her hair up. Yes, she loves pink. She's got it up in her little pink scrunchie.
Don't get fooled by the pink now. That doesn't mean that she's soft. She just appreciates the color. But she will bring some strength and some power inside.
And on the other side, you saw Lauren Cox sitting next to Kalani Brown, the two-headed monster, if you will, the bigs for Baylor, who are buddies. They always sit together when they're not in the game on the bench. They have ongoing conversations.
They hang out together when they're warming up. They hang out together when they're off the court.
Finish on the other end for Bianca Jackson. Her first basket. Kim Mulkey's still fired up. Still got the Kim face on. With her team up 24. Queen Egbo, number 25, able to come in. So some bench players getting quality minutes already in the first half. Both Brown and Cox on the bench at the same time. Ball pinballs over to Egbo. Friendly roll, and they're going to count the basket. But Michael McConnell has a foul on Baylor away from the ball on Melissa Smith. So give Egbo credit for her first basket of the game. And the first foul on Smith. Roll to the basket. Saxton could not catch up to it. We saw some frustration on the face of Ty Harris. That's the 9th turnover for South Carolina. Harris was, as a freshman, the starting point guard of the national championship team.
You know, one of the things Dawn Staley's got to be disappointed with was in practice yesterday, one word I heard her say over and over again was dictate. When you're on defense, you have to dictate instead of being at the mercy of what the offense wants to do to you. You've got to only allow them to do certain things.
Another block this time by Richards, and here comes Baylor. Moon Urson highlight. A one-player fast break. Almost, Carolyn. Oh, but she did get fouled.
She can dunk a tennis ball.
And she's 5'6".
I love it. I just knew that was going to be a special highlight.
Moon Urson, terrific athlete. Saxton fouled her. And Moon, whose given name is Kara, heads to the free throw line. NCAA Women's Championship continues with 2 more Sweet 16 matchups on ESPN2. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, and cap it off with Stanford and Missouri State at 6 Eastern time. All the games streaming live on the ESPN app.
Kennedy Carter going against Notre Dame.
Gundawale and Kennedy Carter, 2 players who can get creative with their shots.
No question, and there's not a shot, either one of them, that they have seen they don't like.
That's going to be entertaining coming up a little bit later today.
You give us time just to get changed and find a comfy spot.
You're going to be watching.
I'm glad the games are earlier than they were last night. I had to set 2 alarm clocks.
Here DaCosta with the foul. As Cox and Brown continue to be spectators over on the bench. And Cox with 8 rebounds and 5 assists. And 4 blocks.
In one half.
Not bad. 4 blocks. See those all in the first quarter. She can do some things. Henderson right to 3. Baylor defenders, and Destiny, the freshman from Fort Myers, Florida, got it to fall. About a second or so difference between the 2 clocks. Jackson so poised. All that experience playing for 3 years at LSU, thrust into the point guard position, but using that experience to stay calm. Knocked away a chance for Jackson. She crashes to the floor. And with 2.3 seconds left to go, a foul called on Baylor.
Kim Mulkey just went at Chloe Jackson. That's your shot. You got that close to the basket, making a pass there. She didn't have any better look than you did. She said, that's your shot.
Urson's foul, her second, sends Jackson to the line. Caitlin Bickle comes in. And get the 2 big girls in. You got 2.3 seconds left to go, so Brown and Cox both come back in. Kim Mulkey has played everybody just about in this first half. Cox gets the rebound, but there won't be enough time for the shot. South Carolina down 49-23 at the half. Lauren Cox was brilliant in the first half, and Baylor is chewing them up and spitting them out in the paint.
First time these 2 teams met earlier this season, South Carolina gave up 52 points in the paint from Baylor. They've got 30. They're on the path to 60 so far in this game.
Allison Williams standing by.
Thank you very much. Here with Dee Dee Richards. Dee Dee, a 26-point advantage going into the half. What's been working for you so well out there?
I think we're playing really good defense on them. We're guarding their transition defense, something they're known for, and Lonnie and Cox are killing it inside.
It's a big lead, but it's only half. There's still another 20 minutes to play. What are the most important things you guys have to remember in the second half, even with this big lead?
Mulkey always tells us every quarter starts out 0-0, so every time we come out of a timeout, it's still 0-0. We still play hard and we play our game.
Dee Dee, thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Dee Dee Richards has tied her career high already with 15 points in the first half. Time now to take you back to the studio and Maria Taylor.
All right, thanks, Pam. Time for the Northwestern Mutual halftime report. Welcome inside the
NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. 1 half to go in the Sweet 16 matchup, and the number 1 overall seed Baylor Lady Bears looking very much like they deserve that number 1 overall seed as they are beating South Carolina 49-23. The winner gets Iowa in the Elite 8 matchup Monday night. And welcome back to Greensboro. Pam Ward along with Carolyn Peck. Allison Williams is with us as well. Total domination so far for Baylor. Want to look at some highlights?
Let's do it. But we're going to talk about read the card. Time now to take a look at the Google iCloud highlights. And we're going to talk about highlights of an unsung hero. It's Dee Dee Richards. She got on the offensive glass, then she showed us her post moves, little step back fadeaway. How you like me now? And then talk about make yourself available when the defense focuses on the bigs. She knows how to be in the right spot at the right time and to make you pay. And she did so all through the first half.
15 points in the first half for Dee, who always seems to be smiling and talking on the sidelines.
And a fun personality. You got to have a Dee Richards on your team because she makes everybody else's energy go up another level.
15 points, ties her career high already. Had that against Iowa State during the regular season. South Carolina, part of the game plan was we have to hit threes. They have hit none of them.
Well, at least they got to take some because in that first quarter they only had 3. Means you get your best option against the size of Baylor.
But they haven't hit any. That's not going to work.
No.
True.
Well, but you have to try
half
something.
the battle, or maybe depending on your percentage, a third of the battle is getting the shot off.
You will never make a shot you don't take.
True. Cox has 5 assists already, and Alexis Jennings knocks that away from Kalani Brown. Allison Williams, what do you have?
Pam, I spoke with junior guard Ty Harris for South Carolina at the half, and she said being down this much, they just have to focus on chipping away and try and cut into this lead, and that starts on the defensive end. They have to get back defensively, a better ball pressure, try and force some turnovers, and they also need to really limit Baylor's second chance points. They had 10 of them in the first half.
And they also had 30 paint points, on pace to being the most that South Carolina has given up all season. The previous high, 52 points against Baylor back on December 2nd when South Carolina lost to the Bears by 25 points. Juicy Landrum has picked up the personal foul. It's been, I think it's safe to say, a trying season for Dawn Staley this year.
I think it's been a very productive season because you had to make the adjustments of playing without Asia Wilson. You were guard loaded this season, so you had to really change the system and have a system that fit the players that you had. She also had to wait for some players to get healthy, and she stayed the course with them too, without frustration, without players being disgruntled. Everybody has stayed the course and grown.
And one good thing that's coming for South Carolina, they have the #1 recruiting class coming in next year, and that young lady there in the middle is part of it, Letitia Amihir, who is very talented. She is already on campus because she got hurt playing in high school up in Canada where she's from. So she's enrolled in class, she's rehabbing, and great days are ahead. And look at those other names that I know you're very familiar with.
Aaliyah Boston is a strong, powerful post player. Zaya Cook was a player that even got the attention of NBA players on Twitter because of the game that she has, and a lot of that has to be attributed to the addition of Jolette Law that Dawn Staley brought on her staff, who had signed the #1 recruiting class before she left Tennessee, then brought a #1 recruiting class that'll be coming in next year for South Carolina.
Taya Cooper with the finish. Jolette Law is someone who should get a head coaching opportunity again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that she knows the game. She brings the energy. The players respect her. And she's got a lot of respect for all the connections recruiting-wise across the country.
And as you mentioned, goodness knows she can get players in, and has done a terrific job at South Carolina, at Tennessee before that. She played on an Iowa squad with the Final Four team, right? With Vivian Stringer?
No, she left just before. She was graduated just before Coach Stringer took her to the Final Four. But you know what? We have 2 Globetrotters in the house because Jolette Law was a Globetrotter, and we also have Lynette Woodard, who is here as well. She was the first female Globetrotter and the greatest women's basketball player that's in this building, I tell you.
Yeah, as good as Megan Gustafson is, and Brown and Lauren Cox, all that. I'll tell you what, Lynette Woodard, she played at the University of Kansas. She was amazing.
That's an understatement.
And she is now the head coach at Winthrop College, which is just down the road in Rock Hill, South Carolina. More scoring by Baylor. And Lynette Woodard sitting next to Renee Brown, who long-time relationship with USA Basketball and WNBA.
She was an assistant coach at Kansas with Coach Marion Washington. One of the great African-American coaches. Role model for me.
Good defense that time on Kalani Brown, but look who's there to pick it up. Dee Richards, right space, right place, right time.
Always. And you know what? I was watching through that whole series that was happening. Kim Mulkey didn't beg for a foul. She wants her big players to play through that contact.
That is the first 3 for South Carolina today. Taya Cooper, the first Gamecock into double figures. Another bullet pass, and then, Deanie Richards is frustrated because she wanted to get the pass over to Kalani Brown, and now she gets the Kim Mulkey stare because Kim wanted her to shoot. Actually, she's upset with Kalani for not getting that pass, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike Boyd, our director, getting that shot for us. Destiny Henderson well short. Lori Mancini, our producer, another great crew on hand in Greensboro. We'll be back here Monday night for Iowa and, unless something miraculous happens, Baylor. Baylor trying to get back to the Final Four for the first time since they won it all in 2012.
We get to see Megan Gustafson and the potential of her scoring 1,000 points in one season.
In one season. Now, 1,000 points in a career is good.
Right.
Like a lot of college players get excited about that. She can do it in 1 year.
Now, and I know you know this. Who are the three others that have done it? Come on, Pam.
All-time leading scorer, Kelsey Plum.
Okay.
Jackie Stiles, who is now the assistant coach at Missouri State, who with their last Sweet 16 team in 01. And somebody who has Baylor ties, Odyssey Sims.
Do it, Pam Ward. You and your knowledge. I'm glad you're my partner.
And our research team.
That's awesome.
But I was with Kelsey Plum a couple years ago when they were got all the way to the Sweet 16, and when she set that record. But Megan Gustafson, that's some precious company, isn't it? That she could join with the big game on Monday night. Kalani Brown just committed the foul. And Gustafson is so much fun to watch. And Lisa Bluter is not sitting with her team. She's sitting across from us in the stands by herself. She's doing some scouting.
She's checking that stat sheet.
Yep. Lisa Bluter, the head coach at the University of Iowa. NIT heading to New York. Semifinal action tips off Tuesday at 7 Eastern. Wichita State Lipscomb, then Texas TCU. ESPN and the ESPN app. Visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Jennings heads to the bench. And now some pressure from South Carolina. Lauren Cox broke. And then the block by Herbert Harrigan. I think Lauren was apologizing to Kalani Brown for not passing it to her.
But after Kalani got fussed at Kim last time passing up or not going after the basketball, I think she wants her big players to go to the basket, be aggressive, thinking score first.
26 points and still wanting them to execute to her very high standards.
If you look, you see that piece of black gauze on Lauren Cox's right arm. That is the sensor portion of the continuous glucose monitor she wears as she plays with type 1 diabetes. And what it does is it checks her blood sugar every 5 minutes, then sends that information to an insulin pump she wears on her sports bra, and it secretes the necessary amount of insulin that she needs 24/7. It's basically like having an external pancreas. And I'm told she was one of the first people in the United States to receive this technology. And for her, especially being an athlete, it's such a game changer because you have to realize everything she does affects her blood sugar. If her heart rate goes up, if she's stressed, it all affects her blood sugar. So having that continuous monitoring really frees her up mentally to know that she is always in a safe zone with her insulin.
And Alex Olson, there he is, the athletic trainer for Baylor for the last 19 years, and he has given us a lot of information and is the point man to monitor what's going on with Lauren Cox. And it really is a wonderful invention, and it's really helped her a lot. It's miraculous, and the monitor communicates with the pump via Bluetooth, and it just gives her the correct amount of insulin.
And she can track her levels on her cell phone.
Wow.
And she said
there's an app for that.
There is an app for that. And since she has started to wear this, then she's not been as susceptible to have to miss games because of her blood levels getting out of whack.
She has done a lot of work as a spokesperson, for juvenile diabetes.
Now, I remember talking to Kim Mulkey when she was recruiting Lauren Cox, and she said that, Kim let me know, she said, she's a diabetic, and a lot of coaches were kind of concerned of whether or not, because if you don't get that sugar, the levels monitored, there would have been games. Like she had to miss the UCLA game her freshman year. And you have to have the support around her in order to make sure that she's able to stay healthy and be successful.
I bet some of those coaches wishes they had stuck with her. Cooper with her second three. She's got 13. Every year also Baylor has a juvenile diabetes awareness game, so Cox is making her presence and her condition known in the community, and Baylor's been very supportive. Ty Harris just fouled Juicy Landrum. Juicy was one of the stars in the first 2 games of this NCAA tournament. They haven't needed to rely on her so much this afternoon. She had 7 of her 13 threes last weekend, convincing wins for Baylor over Abilene Christian and then Cal to get here.
I was a little concerned with the scouting report that Cal was really more focused on double teaming the post players for Baylor, with knowing the ability of the guards that can shoot the basketball other than Dede Richards. The other guards for Baylor can shoot it.
Yeah, Jackson is one of the best mid-range shooters in the country. And Juicy Landrum has shown up. And now Kiki Herbert Harrigan getting into the act. She's got 8.
Yeah, this is similar to earlier this season. Baylor got out big, and then it was almost as if South Carolina settled in and started making shots, tried to make a game of it, but Dede Richards still is hot.
Building on her career high, now with 19. A very unorthodox shot for Dede. Oh, look at a spin by Cooper, and then she just plows into the court. Timeout. Baylor up big in Greensboro.
The NCAA Women's Championship, presented by Capital One, is brought to you by Illumia. Visit us at illumia.com.
Got a game coming up in just about an hour on ESPN2. Texas A&M taking on Notre Dame. Kenny Carter, she's got her shades on just in case the sun decides to come inside the building. She's coming off her third 30-point game, and she's got 3 of them in NCAA tourney games, Pam. I hope you guys don't wear shades inside.
I tell you, she needs those shades because she's just red hot herself. She can't look at her hands.
Maria Taylor knows sun don't set on cold.
Kennedy Carter and Enrique Dumboale coming up as we look at our Capital One rewarding performance. Lauren Cox has done it all.
She's come out with great energy. She has shown the versatility of her game. You see that from the 3. Kim Mulkey has got to be very, very pleased with how her junior came out today.
Tay Cooper at the free throw line. There's Kim Mulkey not looking very, very pleased.
That's the pleased face.
Is that's the happy face?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Contemplating. Still got a lot to go in this ball game, but Baylor has jumped out and had a big lead for the entire game. Cooper with 14 now. And the winner will play Iowa on Monday. Pressure from South Carolina. Cole Jackson, very cool customer. Never seems to change expression. Moonerson skips off the back rim. And another foul has been called, I believe, on Baylor. It's on Melissa Smith. That is her second personal foul. Lonnie Brown getting a lot of rest this afternoon.
She's going to need it if she's going to be matched up with Gustafson of Iowa.
Lisa Bluter talking to Norlin Finch. Works for the ACC and will be retiring soon.
Should be going into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame
in Knoxville, Tennessee. Herbert Harrigan, a chance to shoot free throws. And Kalani Brown is back into the game, so both Cox and Brown on the floor at the same time as Urson goes out. And Coach Mulkey has her starters back in, all 5 of them.
Lauren Cox was the key to the press break that Kim Mulkey talked about, because you can just put her in the middle of the press break and she can facilitate.
Helps that she's at least 6'4". Cooper with the finish, and now some of the South Carolina fans starting to get more vocal. Everything's falling for Dee Richards.
That's 21 points for Dee Richards. She normally averages 6 a game.
Wow. Now 6 over her career high, her previous career high.
Look, when you get to this point in the season, ballers got a ball if you want to survive and advance.
That's the 5th block for Lauren Cox. And now Richards upset with herself, emoting.
You know, in the press conference yesterday, a reporter asked Coach Mulkey, do you feel like your team takes on your personality? Well, I think there was a great similarity between Dee Richards and Kim Mulkey on that last series. It doesn't matter what the score is. They are competing, frustrated when they mess up every possession.
The lead is 20. It had been as high as 30 for Baylor. Maybe one of the reasons why Coach Mulkey put her starters back in. Cuevas Moore buried it. Her first bucket of the game. Lead down now to 17. Cox left it short. Baylor basketball.
If South Carolina can cut this down to 10 headed into the 4th quarter, that's just enough to give your team, if you're South Carolina, the belief that you can maybe pull this thing off.
Lost by 25 in the regular season in Columbia to Baylor. And that is another Bear turnover, their 10th of the game. And a lot of fans getting on their feet, wanting some more Carolina points. Cuevas Moore draws the foul. Richard Sr. from the Bronx, who was going to leave school. She had announced that she was going to transfer to West Virginia for her final year of eligibility, decided to come back.
Yeah, she told Dawn Staley she was leaving in April, and then Dawn Staley attended her graduation in May. They both looked at each other. They realized that they weren't ready to part ways. They didn't want it to end like that, and Bianca Cuevas Moore decided to stay.
Lily Grissett coming in for Alexis Jennings. Pair of post players. Cuevas Moore did not play at all last year, had a bad knee. South Carolina has outscored Baylor 25-15 in this quarter. Landrum, chancy pass. Brown couldn't finish the first time, but did on the follow. 14 for Kalani. Cuevas Moore picks up the errant pass. Rosette had it taken away. Richards finishes.
23 for Dee Richards.
Usually relied on for her defense and on the Big 12 All-Defensive squad, and Coach Mulkey told us she's just the kind of player you can't take off the floor because you mentioned the energy and what she brings to her teammates, and not to mention her defense.
Well, South Carolina went on her scoring run. Baylor turned the ball over, and it was Dee Richards. I saw her tell her teammates, settle down. We've got this. We're okay.
She is a scoring machine today. Dee's got 25. All the talk about the bigs and Brown and Cox. How about these guards for Baylor? Baylor up 70-48. Timeout on the floor. Time now to take a look at the Google Cloud highlights. Let's go back to game one today. Carolyn Peck, Iowa with the win over NC State. A lot of people contributed.
It was a great team effort. You had Hannah Stewart that opened up things by hitting the free throw line shot. Megan Gustafson went to work down low on the block. The guards got involved as well. You had Mackenzie Meyer that was knocking down shots from the perimeter. Tania Davis scored as well. It was a great balanced attack for Lisa Bluter.
Double-doubles for both Gustafson and Hannah Stewart. And Lisa Bluter is over on the opposite from us, taking a look at her next opponent, which that game again will be Monday night right here in Greensboro. The trip to Tampa going to the winner. Lauren Cox does not think she just committed a foul. It wasn't, it was on Smith. Her third. Let's take a look at some Sweet 16 headlines. UConn, boy, UCLA gave them quite a game. They were tied in the second half, but UConn to their 14th straight Elite Eight, where they would play Louisville, Tara McCowan, and Sabrina Ionescu. That's a couple of stars in that other matchup.
Ionescu only needed 3 more rebounds to get yet another triple-double. She is so fun to watch, and she sees things on the floor with assists that you go, okay, how'd she know that was going to be there?
Herbert Harrigan delivers at the line. As we approach 1 minute to go in the third quarter. Lauren Cox doubled, and Kim Mulkey called a timeout. She has not been pleased by what she has seen in this quarter, a quarter that actually where South Carolina is outscoring Baylor.
A lot of it has to do with South Carolina bringing the full court pressure, the turnovers that Baylor had. I don't know if Lisa Bluter's been able to watch it because Norlin Finch has been talking her ear off this whole entire third quarter.
She's from Iowa. She's too nice to say, I need to scout this game. So this is Baylor Bears NCAA tourney results. They do have 2 national championships in 2005 and 2012. But since 2012, Carolyn's been very frustrating. They've been stopped short of the Final Four all 6 times.
And I just wonder if it kind of sits on the shoulders of the players and Coach Mulkey of really this is about as far as they have been able to get.
Bounced out in the Sweet 16 by Oregon State. The year before that, Oregon State got them in the Elite Eight, 4 straight Elite Eight dismissals, all during the Nina Davis era. Wonderful player who never got to the Final Four. Chloe Jackson with the bucket, and now you hear a lot of the Lady Bears talk about wanting to get Kalani Brown to the Final Four because this is her last chance as a senior.
And they have the bracelets that are reminders every day.
They want to make that trip to Tampa. Lauren Cox just picked up her second foul.
This is the best team that is in this region that I have seen. They've got the depth, the point guard.
Together to Tampa, that is the mantra on the bracelets that Carolyn was just referring, and he's here. Are you happy now, Cannon?
There is little Cannon.
Kim Mulkey's grandson.
He's a happy boy now.
South Carolina, pressure defense starting to work a little bit. Richards just stopped Cuevas Moore with no foul call. Shot clock is off now for Baylor. 30-point lead, now down to 20. Jackson got it rejected by Quizette. Have to hurry. Harris just off the back of the rim. Baylor 10 minutes away from an Elite Eight matchup with Iowa.
Back in Greensboro as we get ready to start the fourth quarter here with Baylor head coach Kim Mulkey. Kim, as you get ready to join your team in the huddle, what will be your message to them to start the fourth?
Quit fouling. Had 10 team fouls to 4. We didn't get to the foul line. We put them at the foul line. I thought they played. Obviously, when you're down 26 at the half, you're going to take chances. You're going to gamble. You're going to press. You're going to look for turnovers. If you have layups at the end of the press breaker, score it. But don't play rushed. You're in control of the game. Slow down, execute your offense, and quit fouling.
Being in control of this game, up 20, how much do you look to manage starters' minutes over the final 10?
It's NCAA playoffs. I play to win.
Gotcha. Thanks, Coach.
Kim Mulkey's not going to take her foot off the pedal, not off the gas right now, not until she sees that her team is 100% what she wants to see. And the number one thing she's looking for is the defense.
Her team was actually outscored in that third quarter by 6 points. Taya Cooper had 14 points by herself for South Carolina in that quarter, but it's still a 20-point advantage for the number one overall seed. There's the story of the score. Baylor shooting better. Look at the rebounding, and the paint points also decidedly in Baylor's favor.
Well, they've got 48 paint points so far in the game, but it's not just been Lauren Cox and Kalani Brown. Dee Dee Richards has had a phenomenal game, 25 points so far.
Brissett blocked by Brown. So, Cox with the ball has 5 blocks on her own, which is really good, but 4 off her career high. She had 9 at Iowa State last season in one game. Turnover forced. So now South Carolina can get back into it. Harris, yes, and the foul on Richards.
Ty Harris is so smart with the basketball, and you watch how she severs across, keeps coming back at Dee Dee Richards in order to be able to be in control and finish the layup.
Second foul on Richards. Three-point play gives Harris 5 for the game. Juicy Landrum made it look easy. He's had a very quiet 12-point game this afternoon. We had a terrific tournament. Rebound bounces into the hands of Dee Dee Richards. Brissett just threw her headband away. It's lying on the court. Cox hacked by Herbert Harrigan. And Lauren Cox now heads to the free throw line, where she is just 2 of 4 this afternoon. SportsCenter tonight after top-ranked boxing with John Anderson and Kevin Connors. Reaction and analysis from Texas Tech Gonzaga and Purdue Virginia. Tiger versus Rory in the match of the day at the Match Play Championship. And UFC heavyweight style. SportsCenter, midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. Lauren Cox now with 13 points. 13 rebounds as well. Harris, long 3 over the outstretched fingertips of Cox. Baylor has been in control of this game since the very beginning. South Carolina has not led.
You see Kim Mulkey still coaching down to the very end. She wants so badly to take this team to a Final Four.
Now she's out on the court because she disagreed with the foul call. Cuevas Moore, there was a lot of contact, nothing called. Now Jennings got tangled up with Cox a little bit. Lonnie Brown, that is the mismatch of the century with only Taya Cooper there to check her. Brown at 6'7", Cooper at 5'8".
Well, that's what Kim had told Allison about slowing things down. But when you have a mouse in the house, when you've got Cooper trying to guard Kalani Brown, you got to give her the basketball. See, now Mulkey said slow things down, use the clock. Now's the time is when you practice your execution. But Chloe Jackson can't relax. She can't lose the ball at the top.
Cooper went for the steal. Now Taya goes out in favor of Danye Kleine. Kleine, one of the seniors on this squad, along with Jennings, Cuevas Moore, Young Perry, all probably playing their final games for South Carolina. Lauren Cox takes it right to Herbert Harrigan. Tried to block it, but instead ended up fouling her. That's 4 on Kiki.
It's impressive in how Baylor has come together when you've got the new players that have come in, especially Chloe Jackson and running the point. And a lot of teams that need to gel fast, they do the off-season international trips. And this Baylor team went to Italy and got to really know each other, spend some time there. Where's this, Kim? Or Pam? You knew all these places?
Italy. I think the first place was Venice, right? Because that's the city with the canals.
And that's where. And Kim, while she was over there, she had some disc problems in her back. Had to survive that trip and come back and have surgery. Kiki able to score. But Kim was telling us too, after she had surgery, she remembers it. Remember, it was when Aretha Franklin passed away, and she was on the couch and she was in and out with her medication, and she said she thought that funeral went on for 2 days.
Yes. Every time she woke up, the funeral was still going on.
But Kim loves some music, loves some Aretha Franklin, so she was watching. She was just in and out of it with her medication.
And she is full speed ahead right now. She was not allowed to crouch for a while. She can do everything now. Chloe Jackson, that's such a sweet shot for her.
I loved it when we asked the players if it toned Coach Mulkey down at all with the back problems, being laid up. She had to coach a lot from a chair, and they looked at us and they said her mouth still worked. So no, it didn't slow her down one bit.
Absolutely, and they said that she would even jump up during practice, and Alex would say, "No, Coach, sit back down."
Yep, Alex Olsen, the trainer.
She would sit down, but like Allison said, the mouth still was going.
Chloe Jackson rolls in another one.
I think the toughness that Kim showed as a player, this toughness she shows as a coach, and then going through that, that's what your players take on, that resiliency.
3-point shot for Cuevas Moore. This is a Baylor team that in this last decade has absolutely dominated in the Big 12. They swept both the regular and the tournament championship again this season. Back-to-back years they've lost 0 games in the Big 12. Cox drawing more fouls. We're going to take a break. Baylor up 22.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Baylor has led from wire to wire, up 86-64 over South Carolina in the Sweet 16 game. And Kim Mulkey, when we were in Waco last week, you got a nice little special tour.
Well, we got to go inside her closet, and she talked to us about how important it is, not just about winning, but how she wants her players to experience something special. It's pretty special. Coaches won at all levels. Olympics, player, assistant coach, 2 national championships as a head coach. Will it be 3?
I would love for it to be 3, but you know, Carolyn, I get emotional when I talk to the players about it because I want them to experience it. I have been so blessed. Listen, I've played for great coaches, played with great players. Would it mean a lot to me? Yes, but I already have them. Yeah. I want players that have never experienced a Final Four. I want those kids to have it more than me. When we won our first one at Baylor, I'd already done that at Louisiana Tech, and all I kept saying is I'm so happy for Baylor University. Right. Because to see the look on people's faces when they experience something for the very first time, it's priceless. Mm-hmm.
It is priceless. I remember in '98 and taking my Purdue team, we lost to Louisiana Tech to Kim Mulkey. And I knew what the kids were missing out on because in '95 I was with the Tennessee staff and we went to the Final Four. So I knew what you want those players to experience. And Kim Mulkey has won at so many different layers. She has won a national championship as a player, as an assistant coach, and also as a head coach twice. So she knows what a great experience it would be, and especially to see players experience for the first time.
They've not been there since 2012 when they won their last national championship. Kalani Brown, a senior.
So Coach Mulkey has experience in the Final Four as a player and coach. So does Dawn Staley. In fact, they are the only 2 women's head coaches that have had that experience as both player and head coach. And Coach Mulkey was asked about it. You guys have mentioned how you see her team kind of taking on her personality, and she sees the same thing with South Carolina. She said, I coach the way I played, Dawn does as well, and you can see how both of their teams' personalities are reflected in not just the coach, but the player that they each were.
And Allison, both these 2 coaches were point guards. So they were play from and coach from a service mentality. They want to put each of their players in the best positions they possibly can to be successul.
Cuevas Moore hitting a couple of free throws. And you know we have 3 people in this building who have won national championships as head coaches in NCAA women's basketball.
Kim Mulkey, Dawn Staley.
And who's the 3rd?
I did it 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
Carolyn Peck taking Purdue to that championship in San Jose. South Carolina won the title a couple of years ago, but their season is going to end here in Greensboro. And Baylor will get a chance yet again to get to the Final Four. All 5 Baylor starters are in double figures this afternoon, including Chloe Jackson, who just missed there. Adesia Williams into the game now for Carolina. Every team's goal is to make it to Tampa Bay, where coverage of the Women's Final Four begins Friday, April 5th at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. That's certainly where Kim Mulkey wants to go. A little love for Kalani Brown.
Look at, she's getting soft in her age. I think it's because of her, she's a grandmother now, Yaya.
That's what she wants Cannon to call her when he can start speaking. Baylor played Iowa 4 years ago in a Sweet 16 game in Oklahoma City when none of these players were around. There's little Cannon.
Kim plays with her grandson a lot, and she's got a different side of her. Watch her sing to her baby, her grandson.
And yes, that is Kim Mulkey. That is not her twin. That is Kim Mulkey singing, what is that, the Elephant Song to little Cannon. We've had a chance to visit with him. He seems to be a happy little baby.
And I got to hold him. He's a snuggler, too. He is just adorable.
Yeah, Kim is smitten, certainly, with Cannon. Mackenzie, her daughter, who played on that national championship team, and now there's Mackenzie, now assistant director of basketball operations, working for her mother. And her husband is Clay Fuller, who was a former wide receiver on the football team at Baylor. And we still see Mackenzie go out there and go out on the floor. She's still got a sweet little stroke when you see her shooting by herself.
She won't look. If you're Kim Mulkey's daughter, you're never going to lose your game because both of them work out.
Oh yeah. And Mackenzie had a kid back in the fall, and you would never know it by looking at her.
I know.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
She looks fit, man.
Looks like she didn't have that baby at all. Said she gained about 30 pounds. That's all gone. But yeah, sometimes you see her out on the floor shooting, and she's just popping them in. But Kim is a very, very proud grandmother, very happy. And their son Kramer is in the St. Louis Cardinals organization, projected to be a AA as a shortstop this year. They're a very athletic family. And another chance to get to the Sweet 16, where Baylor will take on Iowa Monday night at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Again, the last time they played 4 years ago in the Sweet 16 in Oklahoma City, Baylor won by a lot, 81-44. That's a lot. But then Baylor lost to Notre Dame in the next game in the Elite Eight. And they don't want to get stopped. They're going to get to the Elite Eight this year. In 6 straight years, they've fallen short of the Final Four.
Well, you have a team that has fallen short and a team that hasn't been this close. And so, you know, will experience help motivate you to get there, or the naivety, you don't have anything to lose, so you just go out and play.
Yes, Lisa Bludert leading her team to a win over NC State earlier today. And Iowa trying to get back to the Final Four. They've only been once, not in the Elite Eight since 1993, and they are now 1 win away of doing that. Iowa beat NC State 79-61 earlier today. Megan Gustafson with another double-double, her 33rd of the year. She can set a new NCAA record for most double-doubles in a season if she gets one on Monday night. And we see Alexis Jennings go out of the game for the last time, one would assume. A senior who started her career at Kentucky, senior from Madison, Alabama, second team All-SEC this year. Second leading scorer on the squad, but just way too much Baylor in this game.
Just the size and responsibility of trying to take on Kalani Brown and Lauren Cox is just too much for one solid, because that's really the only true 5-post player that South Carolina has.
Lauren Cox with a double-double on the day, 6 assists as well. And this is a team, Baylor now, that goes over the 90-point mark. Danye Kleine checks out. Another senior for this squad, has been a really good defensive player for Dawn Staley over the years.
Kleine's been a very unselfish player. She's a player that had started out last year, starting a majority of the games. This year had been relegated to the bench, but when her number was called toward the end of the regular season, going back into the starting lineup, she was ready.
Honesty Scott Grayson into the game, part of the freshman class. Gets the bucket, a freshman from Brick, New Jersey. So in the first game against Abilene Christian, 95 points for Baylor. They scored 102 against Cal in the second round game. And here they are at 93. Next stop will be Iowa on Monday night in the Elite Eight matchup in Greensboro. The #1 overall seed in this tournament, looking very much like that.
It's been an impressive display. Does Baylor have the team that could advance on to Tampa?
Next stop, the Elite Eight for Kim Mulkey's team, Baylor and Iowa on a Monday night matchup. South Carolina's season ends with 23 wins and 10 losses, and a career day for D.D. Richards, a Big 12 All-Defensive performer. But D.D. Richards this afternoon, 25 points. She was 11 of 14 from the floor.
Talk about being efficient, and we said it all during the game, being in the right place at the right time. It wasn't her standing and just happening to be lucky. She made things happen.
Double-doubles for Lauren